So today is Tuesday, March 5th, and it's been another great day in chat, another great day of profits. Today, I was able to lock in a nice $164 gain, and as you guys know, that's not really anything insane, but at the same time, I am happy with my profit. That profit came from only 1,500 shares, and it was on PETZ on a perfect bounce play off $2 right up towards, again, that 220-ish area. So why am I only buying 1,500 shares? I'm getting ready for a small account challenge. Again, as you guys know, last time I did the small account challenge, turned $4,000 into $80,000. Small account challenge is going to be happening later this month. And I just want to kind of get back into the feel of things. So I have a smaller account, as you guys know, on E-Trade. I'm taking money out of my TD Ameritrade, which is now a smaller account as well. So that's why I'm only trading a little bit right now of like 1,500 shares, 1,000 shares. Because as I said, I want to be on the same trades you guys are making. I, as a mentor who's teaching you guys, should be trading the same amount of shares, taking the same patterns. Not saying, oh, I'm buying 20,000 shares. Oh, I just made $2,000. Good job. And people are just like, oh, I only made like 80, 90 bucks. That's not the proper way to be a mentor. I want to show you guys exactly step by step how to do it. So before, again, I dive back in on this, I am just going to get a little bit of a feel of a smaller account just because I do usually trade on my bigger account. And then, of course, we'll go from there. But as you guys can see, made a nice little $164 gain right here. Pretty happy with that one. And on top of that, as you guys know, you guys have been absolutely killing it. Biggest gain we've seen so far today was Moscani with $7,732 in profit, and that was again out of profits chat. But again, so many people making bank right here. But this is Moscani right at what, $949, $950, $7,732 in profit. But shout out to everyone making some big time money. There's so many of you guys, and it's just so inspiring as always. So let's talk about PETZ. Let's talk about a few other plays. And then as you guys know, every week here, we like to do a giveaway. So we're going to get into that, right before lunch hour. So PETZ, we actually had a very interesting day today. And what was the, big interest in today? When we have our morning newsletter that we send to you guys, what did we have? We didn't have any news, right? It was just all chart setup. Look at all the chart setups we had. AWSM, NCTY, JMU, PETZ, and BPTH. And as you could see, PETZ became that nice big runner. So PETZ, that was the winner where it went from, again, 126, spiked all the way up towards, again, that 250 mark. Absolutely awesome. Absolutely great to see. So let's go over this. Why did PETZ go on the spike? Well, we have another low float stock with no news. This 2 million in float stock is having a 36% gap up this morning after breaking its 50-day moving average yesterday. This is usually a very low volume play, which averages 121,000 shares. So if buyers move into the stock, watch for a strong run. If it falls back below a $1, it is done. So this is huge. Okay, this is crucial. There's a few things I definitely want you guys to 100% understand about this stock. All right, first thing is we do know PETZ is going to be a lower float play, right? So right away, what do we know? 2 million in float on PETZ. And what do we know about the last few days? JMU, extremely low float stock. That went on a big time rip. No news. BPTH, that stock underneath 1 million in float. Guess what? Went on a $6 rip. No news. AWSM had a big gap up this morning. Guess what? No news. NCTY had a big gap up this morning as well. Guess what? No news. So a lot of people are just playing the lowest float stocks they could possibly find. And PETZ, out of all the gap ups this morning, was the lowest float stock. So we're not even seeing credibility on the terms of news anymore. People are just finding the lowest float stock they can find and that are gapping up in the morning, and everyone's just buying this one on up. And that's what happened on BPTH over here. And that's what happened on JMU right here. And that's exactly what happened on PETZ right here. They're looking for that low float momentum. Now, what also helped PETZ get so much low float momentum, get so much going for it? Well, one of the big things is look at the average volume. The average volume on the day is 65,000 shares. Now, on a stock that's usually traded, again, PETZ, guys, is usually traded at around the 60 cent region. right? That's where it's getting its average, usually around 60 cents. 10, 15, 20 people could be buying the average volume on PETZ, right? This stock doesn't usually have a ton of hype. If we want to look back, let's say a 3-minute time frame, do you think this is a lot of people buying the stock usually? No. This is like no one usually. This is probably 10 to 15, 20 people throughout the whole entire day buying PETZ. And then what happened? This thing went on a beautiful rip and a beautiful climb. How did it go on such a beautiful rip and beautiful climb? Because if usually, let's say only 10 to 15 people are trading that stock, and now we have 16 million shares in on this play, what's that going to cause? It's going to cause chaos, right? It's going to cause absolute chaos as everyone's trying to get, a piece of the pie. Imagine you own a little local store, right? You own a local store, and let's say you get, an average customers of, 15 people come in. 15 people come in and they want to buy whatever you're selling, your muffins, right? You own a local little bakery where you sell, your top secret muffins, and you get, 15 clients a day. And then one day out of the blue, what happens? 2,000 people want muffins, right? What do you think you're going to be like behind that cash register? Well, you're going to be tossing money around left and right. You'll be screaming out orders. Your grandma's in the back cooking her muffins. Your fingers are cramping at this point. I can't do it anymore. Okay, but now we're getting carried away. But you guys know exactly what I'm talking about on the fact that it would be madness. So what do you think is going on with PETZ today? It turned into exactly that. A stock that usually has no one going into it, all of a sudden everyone moved into it. And this stock went on a beautiful rip and a beautiful climb because it turned into chaos. Now, PETZ, we were talking about this play and we were commentating this play, and this was, a really fun morning. And this is where so many people made money on PETZ. And this is when I was like an auctioneer, commenting on this one, and we're looking at the level 2s and we're looking at how high the stock could run. And I was nailing it on the fact of, hey, the bids are coming in right here. Watch the big time push. It spiked all the way on up. We looked for the ask, and that's when it started dumping on off as the bids, started cracking. It was awesome play. It was so much fun to, commentate through. And then what started happening afterwards? We got up towards very high, up towards 250, and I was like, all right, guys, the next area is going to be a $2 bounce play. $2 bounce play because, again, old resistance holds up as new support, and this is where I got in. $2 bounce play, I got in right at around 205, bounce play right up towards around 220, sold out, and made $164. So PETZ, why did the stock rip? Low float. We've been seeing the past 2 to 3 days, all low float stocks have been running, and especially the lowest float stock. We've also seen PETZ have a usually very light volume. Today brought in huge volume. PETZ just got all the hype, all the momentum, and this stock took on off. I didn't want to chase. I didn't know exactly how high it was going to go, up towards around 250. Waited for the bounce play. Old resistance turns into new support. Easy bounce play. Locked in my gain before the stock started cracking on off. Right? So, that was an absolute great play, an absolute beautiful play. But the crazy thing about today, as I was bringing up before, I don't know if I exited out that morning newsletter, was, we didn't have any news today on the fact that, positive news that led to a gap up. Every single gap up that we saw today that was, meaningful wasn't from a press release. Every single gap up today that was meaningful was more, again, just from a low float that traders were excited to see what was going to be coming on up. So we show pre-market and we show post-market, and let's go to a 5-minute time frame. We could see PETZ went from around 75 cents up towards around $1.40, right? AWSM had this big gap up off of no news other than just a low float. NCTY, no news. JMU, this one, no news. Right? BPTH, this one was the only one with a gap down, but we actually expected a gap down because of the mid-candle breakout pattern. We actually wanted a gap down, but it's never been able to actually come back on up yet. So, but everything, and even let's change the scanners out real quick. If we look at this and we change the scanners to our pre-market scanners, it's pretty crazy. NCTY, no news. PETZ, no news. AWSM, no news, no news, no news. It just kept going. So it was like, hey, I guess we're just going to be playing a low float play that, brings in the momentum. So it was an interesting day. But on top of that, it was another extremely profitable day, which made me so happy. Shout out to you guys and be able to make some nice bank. Awesome work today. Awesome job. Very exciting stuff. And on top of that, guys, you guys deserve, as always, the profits you guys brought in. Could not be more proud. And on top of that, let's keep on killing it for the rest of the week. Small account challenge starting on up. All right. Let's see. DSSS. So does anyone have any questions about today? Any questions? I'll give you guys a minute or two. Give you guys about a minute or two. I'm going to grab a bottle of water if you guys do have any questions about today, and then we'll get into this, some fun stuff right here before the last little bit of morning before we go to lunch hours.